something called private members. Okay, there is a class. Inside that we have some methods, private methods as well as variables also. Okay, whenever you create an object for a class, using that object you can access the members of that class. That means if somebody creates an object for private members class, for this class, they should able to access these members. But even though if they have object, they cannot access these members. Reason is we declare these members as private. Once if you declare a members as private, those members will not be available to outside, will not available outside the class even though you have the object of that class. For that we will see here. Okay, here I have something called private class access demo. Okay, here we will see last class we discussed about just we created an object and we tried to access it through object we did not get. If you guys want you can see here. Okay, I have created an object for private members class. This is my private members class. Here I have a method display1, display2 and index variable. Okay, here I have object of that class PMC. Using PMC I cannot access because its visibility or access specifiers is private. So this cannot be accessible here. Is it clear? Hello? Yeah. So private members cannot be accessed outside. Okay? It will be available to only that class. For example, this is my class. Here I made it as private. So I can access inside this class. But I cannot access this X or display1 outside this class. Okay? Is it clear? Even though how to access members of class? One way is you create an object and using object you access it. That is one way. That is what we tried here. Okay, so it is not working here. Next thing is if I want to access the members of another class, if there is a relation using inheritance. Okay, if I extend that class, that means private member class. Are you guys clear here? Private member class is a class where some members are private members. Okay? This class I am going to use outside. Okay? So if I extend that class, even though I cannot access, see, generally if I extend any class, that class members becomes like my own class members, so that I can access it without object also. Now I am going to write a method in my subclass. Okay, this private access demo is my subclass. Okay, I extended a class private members class where private members are available. Through inheritance, what happens? Superclass members also comes to this subclass. Okay, through inheritance process, so that I can access here without creating object. Now I am going to access it. Okay, see here display is my superclass member, display1. You guys can see here. Even though it is a member of my superclass, I am unable to access it here. Reason is this display1 is a private member. Is it clear? So always private members will be available to only within that class only. It will not be available outside the class.
So Venkat, so that private member or defined in the class will be can be accessible by all the methods of that particular class, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But the private members of methods cannot be called outside that class directly. I mean outside that method directly, right? Private of a method can be used only inside that method, right?
Yeah, correct. We cannot access those methods or variables outside of that class.
outside of that method also. Like if it is a private member inside a method of a
second.
class.
1 second. Here, actually, this private will come to only for instance and static and non-static members. For local variables, there is no concept like private. Suppose here you are telling like if it is a private. By default, that local is private to this method only.
Only,
Right?
okay,
When
got
this
it.
block starts, when this curly braces starts, it will create this X. At the end of that method curly brace closing, then it will destroy that local variable from the stack.
Okay, got it.
So it is like a private to that method.
Method,
Okay?
yeah. Okay.
By default. No need to specify that it's a private. Okay.
Okay.
Now private members is clear, right? Now we'll go to next thing, protected. So 3 access specifiers. One is public, another one is private, another one is protected. We have discussed about private and then we'll see protected. After that we'll go to public. Okay. Let me show you a diagram so that you guys will understand easily. You can. Okay, we'll go through this demo at the end. I will show that. And another one is protected. Protected members are available to, if you declare any member, that can be a variable or a method. Okay, it's available to its subclasses. Okay, 1 second, let me write. Are you guys able to view this diagram? Okay. See here, I am moving the mouse pointer, you can see easily. Okay, forget about that default. Okay, till now we did not write any specifier before our methods, right? Just we write void add, void show, void display like that, class A, class B like that. Okay, before variables also in text like that we have declared till now. We did not specify anything. If you don't specify anything, it is like default. That means that specify that method or a variable, or we can call it as a member. If member doesn't have anything, that means it's a default. Okay. If you declare it's a before like this using private, then it's a private member. That member can be either a variable or a method. Okay. So if you have private members, these members will be accessible only inside that class. Is it clear? See here, private, yes, that means accessible where? Only inside the class. You cannot access those members anywhere. If your class is, see, accessible within the subclass inside the same package. See here, these two are private. Here if you see, access specifiers package I have. Whatever the class I have written demo is also a subclass within the same package, still I cannot access those private members. Okay, if this subclass is a class in some other package, consider in networking. Okay, in networking also, if you can write a class and you can extend this private members class. Let me see here. Here I am going to write some class. Private demo. Okay, that means private members demo. Here I am going to extend private members class. That means where private members are available. Okay. Private members class. Through inheritance, whatever the public methods available in private members class, that means only this display to and all will come to my class. Okay. I will not get private members, only public members only I will get. Whether your subclass is present in the same package or whether it is in different package, it doesn't matter. Always private members will not be available to your subclass through inheritance process. Okay, that is what here we are going to see. See, one is access within the same class, first thing. Okay, second one, accessible within the subclass inside the same package. Okay, accessible outside the package, that means some other class in some other package, accessible within the subclass in another package. So if you write a subclass, that can be within the same package or else outside the package. Okay, this is the difference. Okay, now any class outside the package, like that 4 types of classes are there. Okay, here if you declare a member as private, you can access within that class only. You cannot access even though if it is a subclass within the same package or else subclass which is available in some other package. Similarly, if you have another class in another package, there also you cannot access it. Is it clear, private members here from this diagram also? Hello?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, at the end we'll see default. Okay. Till now, whatever we have attempted, all those comes under default. Okay. Now private is clear. Now we'll go to protected. Now, compared to private, protected has some more benefit. It will be available always. Those members will be available within that class. Okay. And in addition to that, if it is a subclass, we will get. Okay, if you declare a member as protected, you can access that member within that class. In addition to that, its subclasses can access. Now, question comes is, if subclass available in the same package or like this, if it is available in some other, okay, some other package, in that scenario, do we get it or not? Yes, we can get. Wherever subclass is available, whether subclass available in the same package or in different package, in that scenario, you can access protected members of its superclass through inheritance. Okay? If you create object, you can act. Okay? Now, let me write here another one. In this private members class only, I am going to add one protected also. Okay? By seeing name, don't think it has only private members. In the same class, I am going to modify. I am going to add some more members whose access specifier value is protected. Int p equal to 100. Okay? Now, this p I can access anywhere inside my class. So I can access here p because these members either private or protected, if it is a member within that class, it should be accessible. Okay, irrespective of access specified. So I can access it here. Okay, now let me go to another class where we can access using object. Okay, pmc.cp. We can access it here also. See. Okay. Now, because I will explain that one. Here also I can access sysop. Here through inheritance we'll get that. Okay. So what and all will come as part of inheritance. Okay. As part of inheritance, you will get superclass members, protected you will get. Private you won't get, protected you will get. Okay. Now, similarly, if you write another class here, this is in different package. Here also you should able to access that through inheritance. See, same method I will do copy paste here. Okay, we can access it here also. So always protected members can be accessible within the class. In addition to that, it can be accessible anywhere. Okay, through inheritance, this one. Okay, see, if it is some other class outside the package, okay, you cannot access it. Now let me explain this. Here I am going to write another class. How to access members of any class? Create an object and then using the object you try to access it. pmc dot. If you guys see here, are you able to access P outside the package? See here. Are you guys able to see? No. Okay, so if you have inheritance, then you can get it. Okay, superclass properties will come to subclass as per that statement. With object creation also you cannot access protected members. Okay, pmc dot p is not allowed. Okay, because protected members cannot be accessed. Outside the package. So protected, any doubts are there? If you have a protected member, okay, it can be accessible within the class and subclasses, whether subclass is available within the same package or in different package, there also you can access. Okay.
I mean, how come that allowed like protected access outside package you cannot?
If it is a subclass, if through inheritance there is a relation, then we will get it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
If it is only through inheritance, see here, inheritance is there, then you can get it. Otherwise, we can't get it outside.
Okay.
Right? Now, another one, public. Public means you can get it anywhere. Okay, no restrictions on that. Okay. Now, something called default. Till now, whatever we have mentioned, that default. Okay. Here, within the class by default, we will get, and subclasses within that package we will get. Okay. In other places, we don't get by default. Okay. Default members will come to only subclasses within the same package, and it will be available to only that class members only.
So which one is the most commonly used? Is it public or?
Yeah, that depends upon scenario. See, for example, you take private. If you take banking system and all, like our balance and all, some that is very sensitive information. If it is available to anybody, they can go and modify, right? They can create maybe it might. So in that scenario, it is not available to. They want to avoid that one. So what they will do, they will make it as private so that it cannot be accessible by other classes. Only within that class, they can access that balance variable and all. Okay? And in some scenarios, like if you see any commonly used methods, like we have something called one string class. Let me write. String s equal to hello. There is a class string in Java. Okay, here s dot you can do upper and length. These are frequently used methods by everybody, right? So it is required for many people. Like what is the caret, some point character at index 2, what is the last character, and what is the side, what is the reverse string of this string, like that. So whenever if you want to provide this one to, if you want to make it usable by others, then you make it as public. Otherwise, you make it as, if it is very sensitive, make it as private. Okay? And some more things, if you want to make it, okay, this can be accessible by some members, in that scenario, they will definitely inherit your class. In that case, you make it as protected. Okay?
Okay. So how about the automation script? When we write automation script, usually it will be public, right?
Yeah, most of the times we will write public. Actually, there no private, no sensitive information, right? So you can declare most of the things as public only. It won't hamper anything. Okay?
Okay.
So this accessibility is within the same project, right? It can these objects from different projects cannot be accessed. Is it?
Different projects in the sense.
So right now you have created a test project.
Okay. No, this comes under different also. Suppose what they do is generally they will see. 1 second, I will explain. No? Here you have one class examples. Okay.
Right.
Sometimes what we do is in testing we use some development dependent jars. Okay, that means dependent project. We have some dependency on development project also, some of the project. We write our own test project and that internally depends on some of the things from development project also. So here two different projects. Still we are able to access their project variables and all some of the things. Okay, how to access their project, they will make it a jar and they will give it to us. If that jar location is available inside our class path, then we can access that project also. In that scenario, if you import using this statement. Here we have import, right? You mention what is the exact path, where is it available, that class. That class is available in some so on package and this is the class name. Like that, using full path, you import that and then you create object, you can access it.
Access it. Okay.
If you inherit, you can access it. Okay?
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
So, any doubts in this access modifiers? Just for understanding what is private, protected and public, why some places they will give and all. Okay? Then do we get all, when we inherit, do we get all? No. Only some of the things. What are the members will be inherited? If it is a private, we won't get. If it is a public, we will get. If it is protected, only subclasses will get. Okay? Is it clear? Now we'll go to another topic, exception handling today. Okay? Let me create another package in the same. Sorry, I'm creating a class. Let me create the package. Inside exception handling, I'm going to write a simple class, some arithmetic operations. I am doing a division operation. What is the output of this? What result contains now? See here, what is the output? 4, right? Any doubt here? No, just I am doing some division. If I divide 20 by 0, this is not acceptable. Okay, what is the value of this one? It goes to infinity, right? So, in this scenario, whenever if you do some number by 0, then it goes to infinity. These kind of operations are not allowed. See, here, what did I get? I got something called exception. What is that exception? Arithmetic exception. Okay? So, exception is a runtime error. Based on your input, sometimes what happens? We may get runtime errors. Okay? So, how to handle these? Did you guys observe? Here, I have something called this result. Forget about result. I did not get the result value due to that. And if I have some more statements like this, sys out. Okay, some statements related to something like file closing or something. Okay, some statements are there. I want to, this is my flow. First it should do some operations here and it should print that value and it should execute all these. Okay, now what happens? When I write like this, here we got, when it is executing this statement, we got an exception. What is an exception? It is a runtime error. Okay? Now, if runtime error occurs, what happened? Did it execute these statements below two statements? No. Right? If it executes, we should see the output here. It did not execute. That is the reason we are unable to see the output here below two statements. Did you guys observe this? Whenever any runtime error occurs, what happens? That program execution will terminate abnormally. That means there it will stop the execution and it will not proceed further. Okay. In that scenario, what happens? Consider it is a flight program. Flight starts from location A to D. Okay. What happens? It is fully automated one. In between, some exception came due to that is a runtime error. We don't know what happens, right? So, like this, something happened. In that scenario, what happens? In the middle, it will stop. That means it will not proceed. If it is a flight program and fully automated, it is traveling from location A to D. In between, runtime error occurred, then what happens? It will crash. In that scenario, what we have to do? Okay, these kind of runtime errors, that means runtime error is called as exception also, we have to handle it properly. If this happens, then do this. Like that, if you are able to handle it, then no problem. Consider flight started from location A to D. Okay, after traveling some kilometers, somehow runtime error occurred. Instead of flight crash, okay, if you are able to handle it, in that handling process, you can write the steps for safe landing in location B or C or somewhere else, then it is a safe. Okay, we may not reach D, but we can handle that. Okay, now you guys understood what happens if an exception occurs? It will stop your program execution. Okay, abnormally it will terminate. Okay, in that scenario, what to do? If this happens, try. There is something called try catch. Try is a block. What is block? Block is nothing but this one is a block. Okay, open curly braces and closing curly braces is a block. Okay, now there are something called try block, catch block in Java. Using try block and catch block, we can catch these exceptions. Okay, we'll see how to do this. Consider these are the statements. If you suspect some statements may cause runtime errors. If you suspect some statements may cause runtime error, in that scenario, you put those statements in try block. Okay. Consider these two are the error prone areas. So I'm putting those two in catch block. Okay. Sorry, try block. After try block, what you have to write is something called catch. I will explain you this, what is this exception and all. Similarly, like try block, we have something called catch block. You can write something related to this here. Now, same program you execute, what happens and see. Okay, here when it is executing try block, some error occurred. Instead of abnormal termination, what it did, it in try block, it stopped that value wherever runtime error occurred. From there, it will move to catch block and then execute and then it will proceed. Okay, using try catch, what we can do, all the statements where we may suspect runtime error, those statements try to place in try block and then after try you write a catch block. Okay, 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes. I will be back. Okay. So using try catch, we can avoid that abnormal program execution, and then we can handle it using catch. Okay. Now how to do it using try catch, right? All the statements where error we are suspecting, we don't know. If you suspect maybe this may cause, then put all those, or else put your full block inside try. Okay, then immediately you write, after try you write something called catch. Okay, whenever error occurs, it will go to catch block and it will execute those. Is it clear? Any doubt here?
So in that case also, from there, I mean, if say for example in that try block, if has more code, that won't be executed, right? It will be terminated that way, and it will go to the catch.
Hello. Could you please repeat one more time? Some noise is there.
Yeah, I mean, for in the try, if now we have, you told that when that system.out.println result executes, it is going to the catch block, right? So
No, not that one. First step.
okay, where error comes. So that means that if there is one more statement like this, it won't execute that, right? It will be terminated from there itself and going to the catch block, right? It won't come back to the try block.
Whenever exception occurs in the try block, okay, it won't execute remaining things in that. Okay. In that scenario, you may get question like, consider all the code I will put in try. Okay, and just in catch we wrote something to handle it. Okay, now after 10th line, it has some problem and we got runtime error. Then it moved to catch, right? In that case, it will not execute whatever the statements after that. Okay. Wherever error occurred, after that, whatever the statements available in try block, it will not execute. Now consider a scenario, if you want to execute some of the things in try, even though whatever it may be the case, if it has to execute, there is something called finally. Okay, inside finally block, you write something. Whether error occur, doesn't occur, it will go and execute finally block. Yeah, is your doubt clear? It will not execute those statements, whatever is there after that exception statement, right?
Yeah.
Inside try block, it will not execute the remaining statements in try block. It will execute catch and then it will proceed. After catch, whatever is there, it will execute those. Okay, inside try, consider inside try, if you have 100 statements, in that if you want some of the things always, total program is 1000 statements are there. Inside that, if you have 100 statements, inside you are suspecting, here you may get total 1000. Inside that, first 100 you are suspecting error may come, may not come. Whether error come, doesn't come matter. If you want to execute last 90 to 100 statements, that are 10 statements, always then put those 10 in finally block. If error comes, it will go and execute catch and then it will execute those 10 also. If error doesn't occur, at that scenario also it will go and execute. Those kind of statements you can keep it in finally block. Okay? So mandatorily, whatever you want to execute, irrespective of exception, those statements you can keep it in finally. Finally will execute always. Okay, and where do we use this finally? Some of the cases like we have some of we have some code related to file opening and then do some of the operations in that file reading, and then we are doing some operations in that file. At the end we have to close the file. Okay, file closing statement. What happens in the middle of some operation, somehow error we got, then it will terminate. In that scenario always you have to close the file, whatever the file we will open safely, to avoid data corruption and all. Okay, then what you have to do, those file closing statements you keep are resource releasing statements you keep inside finally block so that it gets executed always. Okay, any doubt in this? Try, catch and finally.
So this catch has this exception E, right? So is that some variable can be used, or it's like why?
Yeah.
Oh, is it a format? It's just a
Yeah,
format.
here you have to write some exception class name. Okay, I will tell you one. Some time back, if you observe, we got arithmetic exception, right? When we execute this
Yeah.
statement, we got arithmetic, like that null pointer exception, like that different exceptions are there. For all these exceptions, superclass is exception. Okay, whenever here arithmetic consider in this line execution, I highlighted in blue color. Okay, that int result equal to 20 by 0. That statement is causing arithmetic exception. What it happens whenever that exception comes, it throws runtime error. It throws an object of that class. Arithmetic exception is also a class. Okay, related to that class, it will create an object and it will return that object. Okay, that object, whenever exception comes, what happens? It will throw an object. That object in catch, we have to catch it and handle it. Okay, so here I am catching. Here, try. Here in this scenario, I know arithmetic exception. Okay, arithmetic exception I will get. In some other place, I don't know. Maybe I may get null pointer exception. In some other place, I may get file not found exception. So, based on that scenario, it will return object of different classes. If you are trying to open a file, that file did not find, then it will throw file not found exception. Okay. Sometimes if you are trying to using null pointer, you create without creating object, just you have a reference variable of some class. Using that reference variable, you are trying to access members of that class. You did not create object. For example, I will write here some class private. Private members P. Like this I wrote, and then I am trying to access. I did not create object, just I created. What did I do? Just I created a instance variable. Using that I am trying to call methods of that class. Okay, in that scenario what happens? Suppose let me take a proper class where private members and public members are available. Okay, here this is my class and I have a member. Let me make it another method public. Just for that understanding purpose, null pointer value we get. Okay, display 3. So this is making it as public so that I should be able to access it from here. P dot display 3. If I have a statement like this, what happens? At the time of execution, what it will do? It will, suppose you make it this to null. You did not. 1 second. null. I thought later I will do like this p equal to new and I will create an object for that, but by mistake I forgot to do that. If it is like this, then it's proper. It will go smooth, no issue. Okay? By mistake I forgot this. Okay? Then what happens? At that time, this is having null. So null dot display. So I will get null pointer exception. Okay? In that scenario, here I will get null pointer exception. Another scenario, I will get arithmetic exception, or else another array I have. That array has only 2 members. Okay, but I am trying to access third member. Consider I have array A whose size is 2. Okay, that means 0 and 1 only I can access. A of 0 or A of 1. If I try to access A of 3, what happens? Array out of bound exception. Like that, different classes are there related to specific exception. Okay, it may return any kind of exception. I don't know at that time. So what I am doing is here, as I said some time back, a subclass object can be pointed by a superclass reference variable. Do you guys remember this? I have a class A. Okay, consider class A has some members and all. Similarly, class B, it is extending class A and it has some statements also. Okay. Now, while creating object, how we will create? Object of B class will create, so that we can get members of both A class as well as B class. This is one way. This is we know, right? In addition to this, I mentioned some special point. This subclass object can point to a superclass reference variable. Like this we can do. This is a superclass reference variable. This is a subclass. Okay. As per this statement, okay, here in my scenarios, I don't know what kind of exception I will get. Okay, all array out of bound class or null pointer class or okay, sometime back arithmetic we have seen all these exception classes are subclasses of exception class. Exception class is a superclass. All these are subclasses of it. Okay, so that as per this point, what I can do? Superclass is my exception. So I can hold that this is my E. Okay, like this superclass reference, that is exception class reference can point to subclass object. Here, let it come like whether it's a null pointer exception object or array out of bound exception object or whatever it may be the object, it can point to that. Did you guys understood this statement? Why did I write exception? If you are clear, like you will get array out of bound, you write only array out of bound here instead of that. Okay, and this is just a variable name. E is a variable name that can be A, B, C or anything. Is it clear? Hello? Anyone is having any doubt? If you are saying like no doubt here, we can proceed to next step. In exception, right? Why did in catch block? Why did we write? Whenever exception comes in try block, okay, it will return an object or it will throw an object of that particular class, particular exception class object. That object can be whenever throwing some variable or if any method is returning an object or if any method is returning a value, what we have to do? We have to create a variable and we have to assign it to it. So that is the reason here he will throw an object of some class. So I am going to assign it to a variable of that class or else it's a superclass. Is
So
it
if
clear?
if I want to display that error, can I display like a
Yeah,
e dot
yeah,
something?
sure. Yeah, exactly. You can write here just for understanding. I mentioned hello. Okay, you can print this. What is it? Or else e dot get message like that. You have some methods, predefined methods. Okay, if you write something, we'll get some clear message. What is it exactly?
Can you run this class, please?
This one? Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Let me run. Here, 1 second. Hold on. Maybe it is running different one. Let me go through this. Arithmetic operations. If we go to this here, e dot get message. That means here null pointer came, right? That means here also you will get null pointer object. Okay, here something based on this, what we can understand is that is a predefined method get message. Something we got it like null. That is the reason here exception occurred. Like that we can get. Okay, or else you make this statement and then do it, and related to arithmetic we should get some understandable message. Okay, you divided by 0. Okay, that is why here some exception came. Like that it will show. Is it clear?
Yeah.
And if you want to print that exception, you can print that full thing E, then it will. Sorry. See, this is the exception name we got, and the reason is you divided by 0 happened. Okay, is it clear?
Yeah.
Now, here, what is it doing when exception occurs? How it consider? Maybe it might be having logic, like divided by 0 means, okay, do this. You don't proceed because it's a infinite value. Like that. Okay, they have implemented, who Java people, and they are, when that scenario occurs, they are throwing that exception object. So I am catching it and I am printing proper message. Okay. Similarly, we can also write our own classes, and that means we can create our own exceptions, and we can throw that also. If you feel this is not the scenario, it should not be like this, and if you feel like that, then you can throw that exception, your user defined exception. In this one, any doubts are there, then we'll go to another one, like how to create our own exceptions and how to throw them.
Oh,
Okay? Yeah, tell me.
right, information, right? In automation, in what kind of scenarios we will be using this?
In automation, most of the times, some methods we are going to use predefined methods. They will declare those methods as it may throw error, some cases. Like that, they will declare, so that from that we will understand that method may throw error. In that scenario, what we are going to do is, we will keep those statements in try and then catch. Just we handle it and we'll proceed. That's it. We don't do anything. Whenever we are going to use some predefined methods and all, okay, that will throw some error. That means whenever you are using that method, it will show. For example, I will show you one example. Here I am going to do some sleep. Thread, there is a class. Don't worry, from where we got this class and all, there is a class thread. Inside that, we have a method, static method sleep. If you give milliseconds, how many milliseconds you want to sleep, that means you want to pass your program execution, it will do those many methods. Now here if you see like this, you are going to use some of the methods, predefined methods here and there. Those methods may throw exception. That is the reason they will show this method will throw an exception. So you handle it. That means you keep these statements in try catch. That is what these kind of scenarios will get some places. Here I showed one example method is sleep. Like this, some other method, if you are going to use that also may throw exception. So whenever you use that method, it will show a error like this, you cannot use it, you handle it. So you make it within that try and catch, then proceed next steps. Okay? Is it okay?
Yeah, Venkat, yeah. So in case if we know that, our method may not throw the error, so can we also add that in the finally?
Yes, you can keep it. One second, you don't know, right, whether it will throw or not. If it doesn't throw, okay, no problem. Here, generally, in this scenario and all, it won't show error, right? Here I highlighted divided by 0 and all. Like that, something if you suspect we may get, why should we take risk? You write those statements, even though if it is not showing, you write in try and then write finally and catch. And finally, you keep remaining statements all. It will execute. If error occurs, it will execute. Even if error doesn't occur, it will execute finally. Okay?
Okay.
Now, whatever we have seen till now is a predefined exceptions. Okay? Now, what we are going to do is we will only create our own exception and then we'll use it. Okay? Now, in exception handling, okay, we are going to use mainly 3. One is try, another one is catch. Actually, these 2 only will use, okay, try block, catch block. And in catch, here always I am writing exception. Okay, you can write if you know exactly what it will return, that also you can write. Okay, later I will show you when we write our own. Okay, or else here only I can show you guys what it's going to return. See here. Now, arithmetic one. What is the class name? This is the class name. Okay. There is a class arithmetic exception. It is returning the object of arithmetic exception class object. Okay. That is available inside some package java.lang. Java is one package. Here we have some package, right? Exception handling. If you see the left side, okay, in package explorer, I am moving my cursor. Please see on left side. Okay, there are different packages. Access specifies, exception handling network, like that. Inside that, okay, this is different package. Here there is a package whose name is java.lang. There is a package Java, inside that sub package lang is there. Inside that there is a class arithmetic exception. Okay, from there it is going to where, one second, it will go and create an object of that class and it will return. That class name is just arithmetic only. Where is it available? It is available in lang package. Lang is available in another big folder, Java. Okay, here we can call Java. Java also a package, lang also a package. Okay, lang is a sub package in Java package. Okay, inside that lang package arithmetic is a class. So this fully qualified name we have to give. Okay, otherwise it will not understand. Okay, clear? So
Yeah.
you can do like this.
One doubt is in the try block, when that
Yeah.
private member class P, those things last time when you tried, it was displaying only that P's value, right? It was not going to this exception code, that is result code, right?
To this
So
one.
if you go to the
Okay,
try,
okay. Here,
try,
result.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you it's supposed to give that result of, if you are giving that removing that comments, right, of P, it should display the P's value and then the exception also, right?
Let me remove this 1 second. I removed it. Here exception comes, right? Consider this statement is not there. Then we will get exception, right? Here.
Okay.
Then it will go to here. Now tell me.
No. My question is, those are valid statements, right? I mean, can you remove that comment also from the second line?
Second line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now can you run the class? Like,
Yeah. Before running, let me explain.
Yeah.
Okay. Till here we won't get any error, right? That
sorry,
will highlight.
but that value should be displayed, right? Like null. Then
Yeah.
it should then.
No. Null won't get, because if exception comes, okay, if exception, when exception will get, if this P is not pointing to any object, here it is pointing to object, right? If
Okay.
P is not pointing to any object, so we cannot get that.
So that means that this P dot displays value will not be displayed if you are running for result, as there is no any exception. So that means that if
No,
there is
P
error,
dot display 3, it will execute in this scenario. Now it will execute properly because P has proper, it is pointing to some object, right? Whatever is there inside display 3, it will execute. After that, it will go to result that line. Here we will get exception and we will
Yeah.
come to that place. Let me run it.
okay.
Okay. Inside display 3, some statements are there. Okay, related to those. This is from that.
Okay.
Now, till there, execution is proper. Okay,
Okay.
and then what happens? It comes to this place. Okay,
Yeah.
and then there that problem came. Then it went to exception catch
Yeah.
block.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, thanks.
Now, you guys understood here. This can be superclass reference variable, or if you know specific exception, which one you will get, you can use that also. Okay.
So when we get these errors, we can set, so for example, when you're writing a test case, we can set, when you get the particular error, you can set the test case to be fail and for further action, right?
Yeah, correct. Actually, we use the TestNG framework. In next session, Anil will explain that. Okay, whenever you are writing any code, okay, if any exception comes, TestNG what it will do is exception comes means automatically it will identify and it will make your test case fail. By default, TestNG has that feature.
Okay.
If error, those kind of errors comes means it will fail the test. Okay.
Thank you.
Generally, in Selenium and all, what happens if one thing, click, there is a method click. What it will do, it will go and click on some element. If that element is not visible or unable to find the element with that, whatever you are providing, find a name, some username, field like that. If it is unable to find, it will throw an exception element not found like that, and it will fail the test.
Okay, we don't have to explicitly mention about failing the case or within
Now,
the.
if you are using TestNG, automatically inside that it will take care if those kind of exception comes. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Now, try is okay, right? Catch also. You can have n number of catch blocks also. Here I wrote one catch, right? Because I thought I know here arithmetic exception I will get. consider this statement is like this. Then I may get null pointer exception also, right? Because of second line commenting. In that scenario, I can write another catch which handles null pointer exception. Here maybe we will be having null pointer exception. Okay? There is something called null pointer exception class. Okay? Then when exception comes, what happens is it will come, suppose wherever exception comes in try block, it will stop execution there and it will come and check catch blocks. How many are there? 2. It will start from first catch block. Is it the matching exception? No. Is it the matching exception? Yes. It will come and execute this catch block. Instead of first one, it will execute second one because matching one is second one. If you have a number of catch blocks, it will find the appropriate one and it will go and execute the statements which are available inside that catch block. Okay? Now, one more thing. Is it clear? Now I can write something like here exception also. In that scenario, what happens? See here. Exception is a superclass, right? It can point to subclass objects. The C can point to. So whatever exception comes here, it will come and check from here every time. You have to catch first class only match. Always whatever exception you will get, it will match with this because superclass reference variable can point to subclass object, right? So always it will go to this. Then second one becomes like a dead code. Okay, remove this catch class. Okay, because it never executes this. Got it? Why is it showing the error here when we make above one as exception? Because always it will go to first one only. Reason is whatever exception comes that can be pointed by exception class reference variable. So that always it will go there, then it won't come here. Okay, if you write this one at the end, okay, that is fine. First it will go and check here, not matching, then worst case it will come here.
Okay.
Okay. Now, any doubts in this? Hello? Shall we proceed?
Yeah.
So we have something called finally block. Okay. So finally block gets executed always irrespective of exception. Whether you get exception or don't get, it will be executed every time. And in addition to these three, okay, we have something called throw and another one called throws. Okay, what are these two? We'll see. Okay, now I'm going to write my own class, own exception class. Okay, so I will write my own exception class. In my program, I'm going to throw that exception class object instead of arithmetic objection because that is arithmetic operation divided by 0. That is the reason they throw that class object. In my scenario, I am only going to write my own user-defined exception classes where I will only define the rules. If this is the condition, throw this exception. Okay, not that if doesn't meet that, throw that condition exception. Like that I am going to write. Okay, now let me explain you. There we are going to use these two keywords, throw and throws. Okay, now let me explain a scenario. Through that we'll go. So I'm going to write some class, my account. Okay, inside this what I will do is, this is a account, consider my bank account or something. Inside that, generally bank account is having a account number. Okay, consider int account number. Like this I have account number I'm not going to add more fields just for understanding of user defined exception class. I'm going to take this bank example. Okay. Another variable, you can take it as double balance. Okay. If you take any bank account, okay, inside that you will be having an account number and a balance. Balance is double. And I should make these members as private so that others should not access. This is some sensitive information. Okay. Private, I should declare before only here. PRIVAT. Similarly, I will make my balance also private so that others should not modify. Okay. Is it clear? Then, if others don't modify, then how do we access balance? Right? So, always when you make some members as private, inside that only you write some methods, set method, get method, and using that method you set the value to your account number or balance value. Similarly, if you want to access, use get method and then read the value and do it. Okay. Now consider we are going to write some methods also here. What are those methods? We'll see. Okay. Now I have a bank account. Similarly, that bank account object I will create and I will do some of the operations in some other class. There, what I will do, deposit and withdrawal, like that I am going to do something. Consider here I have a method like withdrawal and deposit, like that. Withdraw. Okay. What is the code? We'll see later. And I am going to do deposit. Okay. So how to do deposit and all, we'll see. Okay, like this I have some methods. So if I want to add in some other class, I will create object for this and I will say withdraw amount. It will withdraw. It will call this method here. Inside this, we will write the code for withdraw. Similarly, deposit also I will do. Okay. Now in that method, here I have a balance, right? Consider my balance is 100 rupees. If I call this method withdraw, and you have to take an argument withdraw amount also, how much you want to withdraw. So similarly deposit also you have to, make it double so that points and all, or anything is okay based on your, okay, double deposit amount. Okay. Now here we will write what we will do. We will take the existing balance and then we'll add this deposit amount to that. And then similarly here we will take the existing balance and we'll remove this. Here while removing, what happens in withdraw, somehow my balance is considered a scenario, 100 rupees are there. I called this withdraw method to withdraw 200 rupees. What happens? It is another scenario, right? It should not allow me to withdraw. In that scenario, it should throw an exception. What it should do? Here I am only going to define my own rules to throw the exception. Okay. In case of earlier scenario, arithmetic operation divided by 0 or null pointer, those are defined by Java people. Here, when you are writing your own application, you decide this is not expected. If you feel like that, in that scenario, you throw the exception. Okay? Then it will stop the execution. It will not proceed. Okay? It will not proceed in the sense, if you throw the exception, what happens? It will, wherever they are writing this method which throws exception, there immediately program execution stops and it will go to catch. There in that catch, you write, okay, this you don't have, so do this, or else this is not proper. Like that, you write some meaningful information so that user will understand. Okay, shall we go to that program, how to write? And another class here, insufficient class. I am going to write insufficient. This is my exception class. Insufficient balance. Like that, I am going to write my own exception. Whenever you are going to write your own exceptions, it is mandatory to extend or to inherit, you should inherit exception class. Extends exception. Okay, here just you write a message, some message. Okay, get message, like that you write some message, get message, and inside that message what you can do is you return that. Okay, here some message, return insufficient balance to withdraw. Okay, this one we'll see clearly now, step by step. Just overall, you guys understood? So there is a insufficient balance exception class. I am going to write that this is the user defined exception, my own exception class. I will only define the rule. If balance is less than the withdrawal amount, what I will do is I will throw the exception of this class object. Okay, this class object I will throw. That will be handled by the programmer who is going to handle that, who is going to use withdrawal method. Okay, now how to do that we'll see. Okay, you guys understood what I am going to do? Hello? Hello? Yeah. So first thing is what I am going to do. I am going to write my own exception class, user defined exception class. If some condition, if I meet, I will throw this exception. Okay. Now let me write that. Okay. Let me write something called insufficient balance exception. Okay, I'm going to write a class. Okay, to tell it is a user defined exception class, always we should extend the class exception. Okay, sorry, spelling mistake. Extends. Okay, here what we can do is we can override the super class method, exception class methods. Okay, just there is a method get message. I'm going to override that one. Okay, so public get message. It will return some message, string message. Okay, get message. Now here I will return insufficient balance to withdraw. Okay, string get message here. Okay, now I have a class like this. This is my user defined exception class. Okay, in my banking, if I meet some cases like if available balance is less than the withdrawal amount, I will throw the object of this. Okay, now Now let me write another class. My account. Okay. Now I'm going to write an account. Generally, account will be having a number. That means account number, and another one is balance. Int account number. Okay. Another variable, double balance, or else you can make it integer. If you are going to do hundreds and all, then write it integer only. Okay. Anything. Int balance. Okay. These two I am going to declare it as private. Why? This is a sensitive information, so I will make it as private. Now here, whenever account holder object we create, whenever we have something called object of this class, what they can do, they can just using that, they cannot access these two. Using that, what they can do is they can deposit or withdraw the amount. Okay. Now we are going to write methods for withdraw the amount. Similarly, we are going to write a method for deposit also. Okay. Now, whenever in addition to that, so let me write public. So I am making deposit method and withdraw method as public. Public void deposit. Okay. Similarly, public void withdraw. Okay. Deposit means what we have to do? Whatever the balance we have, for that balance we have to add the money whatever he is depositing. In the case of withdraw, we have to remove that, right? Any doubts here? So for deposit, you will send some deposit amount. Okay, what we will do? Deposit amount or so you take balance equal to balance plus deposit amount. Okay. Similarly, for withdraw, what we have to do in case of withdrawal, balance equal to here int withdraw amount. Okay. Here just to write sys out withdraw completed, successfully deposited. Okay. Similarly, here you write a message like successfully withdraw. Now here there is a problem. Tell me now, if I while withdrawing in my requirements I mention something. What is it there? Will you execute this one? All the cases? No, right? If your balance amount is less than the withdrawal amount, what you will do? Hello? Hello?
You throw an exception.
Yeah, correct. That is what we are going to do, right? For that, what we have to do? We have to check the condition, right? If balance is less than, okay? Balance is less than the withdrawal amount. If balance is less than the withdrawal amount, then what we will do is we will throw an exception. Else it should go fine, or else you can write it in reverse way. If it is more than that, withdrawal amount is less and balance is more, do this. Else, now what can we do? We can throw an object. How to throw an object? There is a keyword called throw. Okay, there is a keyword called throw. Using that, we can create an object of our class. What is our class? This class, insufficient balance exception class. You can create an object. You guys understood? This is how we create an object, right? I am creating an object and then using throw keyword I am throwing. Any doubts here? I am throwing that. Now here, if this method is throwing an exception, then after that method, right, here we have to write something called throws and that class name. It will throw exception, THROWS. Throws our class. Okay, is it clear? So if your method is going to throw an exception based on some condition, whatever it may be, you decide. Here I am mentioning like if balance is less than withdrawal amount, I am going to throw the exception. Okay, how to make it? There, wherever you want to throw your exception object, using throw keyword, you throw the exception object. This is the highlighted portion is creating object. I am throwing that created object. Whenever my method is throwing an object, I should mention here, okay, throws what object it throws, what class object it throws. Is it clear? Now, I am going to write another method where I will do actual withdrawal and in here only I am going to do actual withdraw and deposit. Okay, now here, one second, my account. Here I declared an account number. Generally it will be having, if you want we can write the account number. Whenever object created for my account, okay, we should using constructor we can initialize that account number, which account we are going to access. Okay, here you use, don't use, no problem. Just for understanding concept, just for understanding this user defined one, it is not required. I will come to that point later. Okay. Now I'm going to create an object for my account. My account MA equal to new my account. Okay, I created, and what I am going to do, I am going to deposit some amount. Sorry. MA dot deposit. I am going to deposit 100 rupees. After that, what I am going to do, MA dot withdraw. I am going to withdraw 50 rupees. Okay. Now, when I write withdraw, what is it showing? Now tell me. It is showing like here syntax wise absolutely fine. I have an object and I have a withdrawal method inside that class with the public access specified so that I can access it properly. No issue till there. Now I made like this method, withdrawal method will return an object of insufficient balance exception. That means it will throw, not return, sorry, it will throw. Okay. In some cases, it will throw an exception object like that I have mentioned. Okay. That is the reason the guys who are going to use this withdraw method, they will get an error. So they must write try catch. Okay. So write it like this. This statement will throw an exception. Okay. So I kept it in try, and here, see here, when I write, what did I just, 1 second, let me go back to that. Here, when I write this statement, it is throwing some error. If you see here, unhandled exception is there. Here, you have two options. Okay. Here I am selecting try catch. You can select either of them, no problem. Anyone. Okay. Surrounded with try catch. I am going to explain try catch. Okay. Surrounded with try catch. Automatically here in catch block, it will identify what kind of object it will throw. It will throw an object of insufficient balance exception class object. That's why it took that one. Or else if you want, now no error, right? Now let me run it. So here we did not face any problem. Reason is here 100 I deposited and withdraw also completed because I am doing withdraw of 50 rupees only. If I want to do deposit 100 later point of time, if I want to withdraw 500, it should throw exception, right? Successfully deposited. While doing withdraw, it throwed an exception. Okay. Here, what is it throwing? Whatever the message you have mentioned, insufficient balance to withdraw. Where is that? Inside your insufficient balance exception class. Here, whatever you will write, it will return that. If you want, I added something else, you do that. Okay, now, is it showing that message? Okay, what is the exception? This class exception it is returning. That means this class object it is returning. What is the main message? This is the problem. Okay, so like this, if you want, and below it is showing from where that is. There is a demo class, inside demo, Java 11th line. Okay, this line is causing that exception. Okay, this actually available here. This guy is doing that statement. Like that it is showing here. Okay, this line number and all. Okay, where this problem came. Demo.java is calling a method. Okay, inside my account class, that line number 27. Okay, their actual problem. Okay, is it clear? Now, here what we did, we created our here we created our own exception and we are throwing that exception. Like this, you can throw your own exceptions and you can handle it. Any doubt in this? Generally, whenever you create an object of, actually it's not related to this example, simply I am telling here, whenever you create an object of my account, whose account? Don't know. Generally here we have to pass account number. Okay, here anyhow we are not using that one here. Inside this, okay, you initialize this account number, whatever he will pass under constructor. Okay, now my account. Enter account number. Okay, this. Okay, so now you can run one more time. Okay, same thing will get, because there is no impact, because in this throwing exceptions scenario, we are not considering that account number and all. Generally, as per standard, whenever you have some account, it should have an account number. Okay, that's why I am doing some account number initialization and all. Okay. Is it clear? Any doubt here? Whenever you want to throw your own exception, first thing is you should and you must have a class which extends exception class like this. And you can throw that class object based on your requirement, based on your defined rules. Here my rule is, if this is balance is less than, balance is less than withdrawal amount, I am going to throw. That is the rule I defined here. So I am going to throw object of this class. Okay. If you want to specify this class is a user defined exception class, to tell that you must extend exception class object. Exception class as a super class. Okay. Any doubts here?
In here, do you also use overriding? If
Yes, get message is a member of exception class.
Right.
Right? See, class exception here inside somewhere we can see get message. Okay? Actually, that is also a member of some throwable class. From there, exception got. Okay? Some other class exception got, from exception I got, so I am overriding there in my class. Okay? This is an example of overriding. So where we can see here, we get message. Okay? It is a member of throwable class. Whatever, there are different types. Okay, some are like errors, some are like runtime errors. Okay, see, in earlier scenario we don't get different types are there. For all these, actually throwable is super. From throwable, exception. For all exceptions, exception is the super class. Okay.
Okay, got it.
So exception class got that method through inheritance from throwable. From exception, I got it in our user defined class. There I am doing overriding. Where is that? 1 second. Here. Okay?
Yes.
This is an example of overriding. Okay.
Okay.
So next thing is, so you guys know about how if else and all, right? Everything, whatever is there in C, all the things like if condition check, some condition, if it is true, then if block of statements will be executed, whatever is there. Okay, otherwise it will not enter into this. Similarly, if else, okay, if again else, if that condition is true, it will execute if statements, otherwise it is false. Without checking any condition, it will come and execute else block. Similarly, we have if, else if, again else. If you want to check more than one condition, first thing for one condition we'll use if, for two condition either this or that. Okay, we use if else. If you want to do more than two, use if, else if, and then else. Like that, based on your requirement, again you can use else if and all. All these everybody knows, right? And similarly for loop, okay, switch and while loop, like there's different loop conditional statements as well as loops also we have. Okay, all these are same as C programming, no difference between C and Java. How C works for loop, for example, if I have a for loop, okay, I equal to 0, I less than equal to some 10 and I plus plus. Okay, if I have like this, how it will execute? First it will come and initialize I value with 0 and then it will check the condition. If condition is true, it will go and execute statements. After executing statements, it will come and increment the I value and then it will check the condition again. And if condition true, it will go and execute block of statements for loop. Okay, and then after executing again, it will come and check always. It will do increment and then condition check. If true, it will execute. Again come and increment, check condition true. After 10 iterations, I value becomes 10. 10 less than or equal to 10, condition failed and it will not enter. All these we know, right? Any doubts in this? Because it is same as C programming, if else, for loops and all, everything. So that is the reason I am not going to cover this for loop and all, if condition and all in these sessions. Okay? Anybody needs that or else I feel it is not required same as C. But one extra one is there, advanced for loop in Java, that I am going to cover it. Okay? Okay, before going to that advanced for loop, let me explain something about string and then I will go so that we'll understand what is it exactly. Because in that for loop we'll use an array. Array is integer array or string array or any can be, or else we'll go through integer array. Later we'll see about string array. Okay, I have an integer array. New sorry. Give me a minute. Let me search once. Actually, syntax don't remember exactly. See, okay, here instead of variable name we should give data type name only. So, okay, we have an array. Okay, this is how we'll write arrays. Okay, generally if you see C programming, how to do int a of 5. Comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5. Like this we'll write in case of C programming, right? When it comes to Java, first everything using new, you have to allocate memory. Okay? So I'm going to write an array whose name is A. How to specify it is an array? You can write these index braces. Okay? And what is the type of that? It is integer. Okay? And using new, you are going to allocate memory for that. And how much is the size? Now, what you can do? You can assign some values. 10, sorry, always array index starts from 0. So I'm going to assign a value 1 or some numbers, whatever it may be, numbers. Okay, A of 1. All these everybody knows, right? No need to go in depth. Like this, I have some variables inside that array. So A of 2 contains some number. So, some 30. Like this, we'll make it 3 only. That's fine. Okay. If I have an array whose size is 3, those elements will be in A of 0, 1 and 2. If I have an array of size n, always index starts from 0, so I will be having elements from 0 to n minus 1 index. Now, if I want to access these elements, how to access? Using for loop, normal one, I will go to C, okay, int I equal to 0. I less than what is the size? 3. I plus plus, we will make it later these things dynamically. Okay, first just to print and writing this. Okay, now you print A of I. Now just run it, it will print those values. Here I have an array whose size is this. This is how normally we'll use for loop in our C programming, or Java also supports this. In another way also, there is a different way in Java, just another one, for each. Here what we will do is advanced for loop. Before going to that, let me make it this dynamic. Okay, if you have an array A, okay, its length instead of size, instead of giving 3 constant, you can give A dot length. Okay, here how do we get this length and all? Whenever you use a, okay, what on that array, whatever the operations you can perform, all those are provided, predefined methods are provided by Java people. So there is a method length. Sorry, it is not method. If you observe here how to identify it's a method or variable. If it is a method, see there, hash code, clone, all those are having parentheses. But length doesn't have parentheses. That means it is a variable. Okay. So members can be either variables or methods. It's not a method, it is a variable. Okay, length property will give you the size of that array. Okay, so I made it like that. Okay, now run once. We can run it. We can see the output. Okay, like this, based dynamically. If you have some list and all, instead of dynamically, we will get some values. How many we'll get, we don't know. All those will put into an array or list. To iterate through that, to do some operations on each value. Okay, we'll take size of the list or length of the list like this, and then we'll iterate through for loop or based on your requirement. And then inside that, we will do whatever we want to do on that. Okay, now we'll go to advanced for loop. How Java supports another different type of one. 1 minute, I will be back. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, Venkat.
Are you guys are there? Hold on for 2 minutes. I will be back in 2 minutes. Okay, we'll continue that, and then we'll wind up in another 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. In Java, we have something called advanced for loop. Okay. Instead of here, if you want to repeat for all the array elements, if you want to something for all, if you want to iterate through everything, then what you can do is, suppose here, if you are increasing by 2, suppose in this scenario, I equal to I plus 2. I plus 2, and let me put some more values here so that it will be understood clearly. Here I have 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7. Like this, I have an array whose size is 8. Okay, if I want to iterate through everything, here if I make it I plus plus or I equal to I plus 1, then it will go every time inside the loop for each element, right? If I make it two steps, so first element it will print, second element it won't print, next again index 0, 2, 4, 6, like that it will go. Here in this scenario, you must use this kind of for loop only. Okay, what advanced for loop will do is there is something called for. Okay, here
Can we change that variable 30 also to some other
Yeah.
so that
Okay, then sure. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let me comment this for loop and let me run it. Okay. Here, this for loop, what I am doing is two steps. I am not iterating to every element, every array index, right? Some only I am going to take. In that scenario, we must use this for loop only. That means whatever I have written here, that means whatever is there in C, no other. There are some cases, if you want to repeat it for all the elements like this, I equal to I plus 1 or else I plus plus, whatever it may be. In that scenario, instead of using that for loop, one simple for loop is there, we can use that one. In this scenario, like this. For all the elements, if you want to iterate that for loop, at that time what you can do is, okay, here, right side of this column, you write your array name. What is the array name? A. Okay, and the left side you write what is the type of the element present inside that array. A of 0 is 10, A of 1 is 20. All these are integers. So, okay, so take an integer variable x. Okay, this is how we'll write this advanced for loop. Okay, for loop and your list name or array name. Okay, later we will get some other types also like list, array, something called a hash map and all. That is a collection, multiple things with one name. Okay, we call it as collection. In that name scenario, you write the name of that collection. Here, array is my collection, so array name I mentioned. For this array, every time, how many elements are there inside that? For every element, you take and assign to this, and then for each time, for each element, you go and execute this. Here, without checking any condition, every time it will execute my for loop. Okay, for all the elements. How many elements are there? For all the elements, what it will do? Whatever you want to do, it will do. Just I am printing here. First one, what it will do? Till end of this array, it will take first element, assign to x, and it will go and do some steps here, whatever you write. And similarly, second element, it will take and assign to this, and it will go. Here it is not checking any condition like is it greater than, less than, like this. That will be done automatically by this. Okay, till end of the array it will do. That is the beauty of this advanced for loop. Okay, now if I write x, this also works same as above. See here, let me write a simple statement to break. Okay, above that line dots, that is from our old for loop. Second one is using advanced for loop. Here if I want to jump to two elements, it is not possible. Okay, this loop will be iterated for every element of that array. In the above scenario, if I want to achieve, if I don't want to iterate this, I don't want to execute this for loop for every element, then at that time only for index, odd index or even index, based on your requirement you can modify this. But here that option is not there. So this we will use both, depends upon our scenario. If you want to iterate through all the elements, all the or full list, at that time you use this one. It will be little faster, but we don't find that difference. Okay, that's it. Any doubt in this? Suppose I have a string array. Okay. Similarly, you can write something called string. Okay. Like int, we have something called data type string also. Okay. You can make string means, I will explain you. It is a character sequence of character. Okay, I will explain that later. For now, you make all these in double quotes. If it is in double quote, it will consider like a string. Okay, string means it should be available in double quotes. Now I have a string array. Okay, here now this one will work without any issue because first one no problem. Okay, till length of that array it will go and take one element and it will print 1 or 2. Okay, then it will do fine, no problem in that first one. When it comes to second one only problem, because here this A is type of string array, right? So if you take one element, what will be the output element? That should be also, it will take one element and assign to this variable. So this variable X should be of string type because it is a string array, it contains string value. So you have to change it here. Okay. Similarly, how we can iterate through integer array, similarly we can iterate through string array also. Here double quote means string, inside 10 in the form of string, not in the form of integer here. Okay, that strings and all we'll see. Okay, it will take another 15 minutes for strings. So in tomorrow's class I will explain what are the functions supported on strings. Okay, this is the one predefined class we use frequently. Okay, suppose if you have a string like this, some hello and something, and if you want to do something to add to this string, or if you want to split this based on some condition, if you want to reverse it, if you want to make it to uppercase, lowercase, like this, different functions are there. Okay, there is a class string. Okay, class string is available. Inside that, all these functions are implemented by Java people and they provided to us. Okay, they made those as public so that we can access it and we can use all the methods, reverse, okay, to uppercase, to lowercase, what is the character at a particular index number, all these we can do tomorrow. Okay, similarly something called hash map. There is a class called hash map. There is a class called list. Okay, all these three we will discuss tomorrow, and with that we can wind up this, and then in next sessions Anil will start Selenium related. Okay, so tomorrow I will discuss about those three and then how to run Eclipse in debug mode. Okay, I will explain that one also. Any doubts still here? Hello?
No, Venkat.
Are all able to follow up or any problems you guys are facing. If you are facing any problem, just drop a mail or ping us so that we'll work on that. Okay?
Okay.
I mean, if you are trying to write your own classes, if you are getting any errors and all. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and can you also share the code that we tried today? Like,
Yeah, sure. I will send it. Okay? I think till here, if you guys are able to understand how to create class and how to extend, that means how to inherit another class, how to use the inherited class members and all, that is fine to work with Selenium. But everywhere you will get these concepts like it will throw exception, keep it in try catch block, okay, or keep it in finally, okay, like this. The That's why I explained all these. Okay, this user defined exception creations and almost of the times we may not use, but if you know it will be well and good. That packages anyhow just this Eclipse have option, just right click on that new package and it will create a new package. It's kind of a new folder. There only will write related classes in that package. Okay. Then tomorrow we'll cover that one, hash map, list and this string class and how to run Eclipse in debug mode. Okay.
okay.
Okay guys, have a nice
Okay,
day.
thanks,
Yeah.
Venkat.
Thanks, Arvind.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Venkat.
Okay. Bye guys.